Everyone, I hope we're all having a good day. Today is Therapy Tuesdays and our topic is going to be grief and discussing the stages of grief. First of all, we need to discuss what grief is, and it's a normal reaction that a person has when they suffer some sort of loss. Examples include a loss of a loved one, the end or the separation of a serious relationship or friendship, as well as the change in a home environment or the uprooting of a child from your life into another environment can also cause that grief. The thing to note is that although we're going to discuss these stages according to Elizabeth Kubler-Ross, everyone reacts differently to grief. It's important to understand grief and its stages because it affects everyone at some point in time in their lives, and it helps us to cope with the struggle of grief. The first stage of grief is denial, and it is considered a defense mechanism and perfectly normal for persons to begin the grieving process by denying. Denial could be a conscious or unconscious act of refusing to accept the reality of the situation and the facts that surround the circumstances. So an example in my field experience would be some clients tell me that their family members are on a long vacation versus accepting that they have died. Denial can sometimes serve as a protective tool that prevents a person from becoming overwhelmed all at once when finding out about a loss. The second stage of grief is anger, and this is the emotional reaction when a person taps into reality of the situation, and so their aggression comes to the forefront, and persons are usually upset with the person that they may have lost, themselves, or those close to them. The aggression is also transferred to the healthcare system, agencies that may have supported the person during their loss, or mental institutions that they may have deemed responsible for the actual loss that they may have incurred. When a person expresses this anger, you have to be patient and you have to allow them to express themselves. They cannot keep it in, and you cannot be judgmental. Won't last forever, so as long as you continuously support this person, the anger will dissipate once it's continuously ventilated. Stage is the bargaining stage, and this is also known as the what if stage. It provides a temporary escape and a sense of hope for persons. It gives them time to adjust to the reality of the situation, but it rarely provides a sustainable solution to the issue. An example would be a person bargaining with God to save their loved one, or a person asking to remain friends after a breakup has occurred. The fourth stage is depression, and it's natural for a person to feel a sense of sadness, fear, regret, and uncertainty during this stage. Sadness is normal after any loss, and time must be given to that person to heal and to grieve and to mourn. I encourage my clients to express whatever emotions that they feel during a loss, whether it's anger, sadness, fear. Express it. Ventilation is preferential to internalization, and only after expression can the healing process begin. The fifth stage is known as acceptance, and it's the final stage of the grieving process according to Elizabeth Kubler-Ross. Acceptance of the reality of the situation and that they cannot do anything to change the reality of the situation. Acceptance does not mean that a person is okay with the loss. It's just that they have learned how to move forward after the loss. Stage definitely varies according to the individual and the situation that the person is experiencing. Length of the grieving process varies from person to person, but we usually range from about 6 to 12 months. It can be longer if the person from major depression, and in these cases it's usually recommended for the person to get some sort of professional counseling to deal with the grief. Some things to note about the stages of grief. Not everybody goes through all the stages of grief. Some persons may skip stages, may experience multiple stages at the same time, and then others may go through a different sequential order than the 5 stages were listed. Grieving is a natural process, and as I said earlier, it affects everyone at some point in time in their lives. What you need to acknowledge is if the grieving process is interfering with your functioning level and impairing your judgment, then it's suggested that you go and get help. It doesn't make you weak if you realize that you need help. I believe there's a true strength in you acknowledging that you can't do this alone. So thank you for viewing Therapy Tuesdays. I hope it was beneficial and educational, and send me any feedback or questions or comments you may have. So do have a good day, and remember, each one teach one. Any small difference that you can make in a person's life adds up.